Today we're going to take a look at the Regal Revolution vise. It's this vise right here. We'll get up a little bit more close and personal, show you some of the features. It's a different vise than I've usually tied with. I'm usually tying with an adjustable vise, but this vise has been around for forever. It's a go-to for many people, so I got one so that I could give it a shot and do a review, and so we'll be taking a look and a review at it today. I can tell you it's very solid in terms of craftsmanship. Very easy to actually work and function, so it's going to be great for all the way from a beginner all the way up to the expert tie flyer. So let's dive in a little bit closer and take a look at the Regal Revolution vise. So here is the Regal Revolution vise, kind of up close and personal. Really a good looking vise, very solid in construction. Really no plastic to be had here. We'll start with the kind of the bottom up, because that's what I usually do. I like to tie with a pedestal base, and I do clamp mine to the table just so it's not sliding around on me, but I like the little pockets. You can see I put them to pretty good use here, keeping all of my crap together. It's probably about time for me to clean some of that out. All of the knobs that you need to work with on this vise are they're brass, very solid, and they're very big and really easy to use. So obviously one of the first ones is just plain and simply this one down here at the bottom. When you loosen it out, you can remove the stem and reposition the angle of the vise. I like mine head on usually, so I'll just go ahead and get it in place here, and then I'll tighten that on down so that stem is not going to move around on me. I've got a few attachments on here. This one doesn't come with it, although I know Regal makes them. It's just a tool caddy that I use to keep the tools I use most often handy. And I've also got a Bobbin Cradle. We'll kind of cover that here in just a minute. That comes with the vise as well. So to adjust the tension on the spin, you can see it's got a nice easy to turn handle here at the back. I most commonly just turn it with my fingers like this rather than trying to use the handle, but that's just a personal preference of mine. But you can see it spins pretty nice and smooth. You can tighten the knob down here right in the center. Again, this really nice big easy to grip knob, and then it's more difficult. You can force it to turn, but I usually have mine a little bit looser. I like it so it spins well when I'm trying to tie a pattern and rotating materials around the hook, but it also stays in place. So if I want to be working underneath the fly, I can just turn it upside down like this. You can see my fly is just nice and upside down, so I can access it that way. Also gives me a really good chance to kind of look around the fly, which I would suggest that you do when you tie. Because what you see on your side of the hook right here, you don't see what's on the back side. I've been tying for a lot of years, and many times I finish a fly only to find out that I don't have coverage on this back side because I've missed something. So it's a really good thing to do, is to kind of take a look at all angles of your fly, and this gives you that opportunity to do that. Another feature it has is down here on the bottom is another knob. I haven't used this one at all, but it's really handy. You just undo it, loosen it up, and the head of the vise will slide right off. The reason I don't use it is because I don't have any other heads for the vise, but you can quickly and easily switch out the heads for your vise that way. I'll just tighten it back down, and really functionally, those are most of the big ticket items in terms of making adjustments. However, there is one other one. It's kind of on the back side here of the vise. It uses an Allen wrench, so hopefully you can kind of see this Allen wrench here. And by loosening this up with the Allen key here, I can also adjust the angle on the vise so that I have different accesses if I need it when I'm tying a fly. Or like me, most commonly I'm going to tie it in a nice horizontal. I'll tighten that back up with this Allen wrench, and that allows me to have the shank of the hook being kind of on a nice center axis, especially for when you're spinning materials on the fly. Underneath you can see the bar here. which is just a spring-loaded bar. And with this, you just push it in, and it opens the jaws, and your fly falls out. So that's one of the big differences here with this particular vise. Is I'm used to more of the adjustable ones where you kind of tighten the hook in and flip a lever to lock it into place. With this one, I can just take my hook, reach over here with my fingers on the lever here, pull it to open the jaws of the vise, put my hook into place, and lock it right back down. And that hook stays in pretty good. I'll be honest, there have been just a couple of times, not enough for me to complain about, but there have been a couple of times where I haven't had the hook in as deep as I have it here. So it was a little bit further, just barely hanging on, which sometimes I'll do if I want to really get a good look at the tails of the fly that I'm tying, making sure they're where I want. I've had a couple of times where I've just barely caught it in the spring jaws here, and that hook just jumped spring out while I was tying. If I was tying with thread, I already had thread on the hook, that was okay, because I could find the hook, because it was still attached to the thread. But sometimes the hook would pop out before I got my thread off, and good luck finding it, unless you're tying with a really big hook size. Speaking of hook sizes, this vise will really take anything you want. For those that are beginning and don't really understand hook sizing, the smaller the number, the larger the hook. The smaller the number, or the larger the number, the smaller the hook. So let's say that again, because I kind of screwed it up halfway through. The smaller the number, the larger the hook. The larger the number, the smaller the hook. So here's an example for you. If you can see it, this is a size 8 hook, and right here is a size 26 hook. So you can see the huge difference. Larger number, size 8, big hook. Size 26, tiny hook. In fact, I only tie on this as more of a challenge, or when I'm just showing people how to tie some smaller patterns. I'm just getting too friggin' old to be able to get a tippet through that when I'm out on the river. But let's kind of show this in action. We'll just go ahead and pull the lever here. We'll take our size 8 and just open those vise jaws up, and I'm ready to tie on it. So I can just go ahead and grab myself a spool of thread, and you're right in business immediately. We'll just go ahead and start our thread here on the hook. I'm not tying up a pattern here. Go ahead and clip that off. I've added just a little bit of a black background to hopefully make this a little bit easier to see, and I'm going to use some white wire. I'm just going to attach that to my hook here. I'll go ahead and tie on back on it. And bring it back up forward. So I've got my wire in place. Now I can use this rotary back here at the back. You can see nice even wraps with the shank of the hook here center line with the axis of the tying head. The other thing that I have on most of my vices, or I'll transfer whichever vise I'm tying with, is the Bobbin Cradle. If you've ever watched my videos, you've probably heard of it a lot. I just keep it out of the way back here, and when I need to use it, I swing it into place and I rotate it up. It's a really great way to just get your thread out of the way. So I just hang it here over the end of the bobbin cradle, and now it's out of my way and I'm hands-free. And then I can work again with my material without the bobbin being in my way. Then when I'm done with it, I'll just take my thread off, I'll turn it down and slide it back out of the way. So regardless of what vise you're tying with, I would suggest a bobbin cradle. They work fantastically. As I mentioned, you can tie really on just about any size with this vise. This is the size 26. The hardest part with like a size 26, if you can even see it here in my fingers, is just actually getting it in your fingers can be a challenge. We'll just open up our vise here. We'll catch that size 26. You can see it's nice and firm here in my vise and ready to tie with. So you can tie on any size here. I'll just sit that back down. I'm sure I'll lose that eventually. So throw in a size 8, 6 enormous hook, salmon fly hooks, all the way down to ones that you can barely see unless you've got magnifying glasses on or much better eyes than I've got. But all in all, that's the Regal Revolution vise. Really nice, solid, like I said before, well-made vise. No flaws in it that I've seen, other than the 1 or 2 times that I've had the fly just jump right out of the spring out of the vise head, just probably due to the tension that you've got on there. But not enough that I would turn away from it. I've probably tied 100, 150 flies on this, and it's maybe happened 3 times. So, and it was probably my error as much as anything else. But the big difference is this, and there are other manufacturers that make this type of loading device for the fly, and it does work really well. It's a lot faster than an adjustable. I'm just used to an adjustable, but I do enjoy tying on it. So we'll just open those jaws back up and throw our finished fly back in. And there you have it, the Regal Revolution vise.